Good morning. So we are in Washington, D.C., and our legislative time is going to be discussing the Charitable Giving Act. We are trying to get as many co-sponsors of this bill as possible. And the reason that we're working on this is because charitable giving is not a Republican issue. It's not a Democratic issue. We're trying to work on both sides of the aisle to get more Democrats to co-sponsor the bill. We feel like this bipartisan legislation will help our Christian schools and our ministries, as recently some of the decisions coming out of some of the court cases, they've ruled 501c3 status as being a recipient of federal financial aid, which is like saying if there's a pickpocket loose in the metro station and he picks one person's pocket, but then he doesn't pick the other person's pocket, he's actually given a benefit to the person whose pocket he hasn't picked. It doesn't make sense. Of course, a lot of the things that happen in Washington, D.C. don't make sense. So we'll keep you apprised of our progress today, and we're looking forward to a great time up on the Hill. For the years that I've been calling on our elected officials in both Lansing and Washington, D.C., I've had a burden to preserve and to protect religious liberty and the freedoms that we have. I think one of the things that we need to emphasize is the fact that the people of faith in this country have been the foundation that this country, our laws, our principles have been built upon. And what we're not asking for is special treatment for people of faith, but to allow us to enjoy our faith, to practice our faith, free from government intervention, free from government hindrance. And the reality of it is that it's the people of faith that have made this country to be what it is. We actually save the government money through the efforts that we have, through the things that we do. So our efforts today will be interesting, and we will keep you apprised as we go throughout the day. One of the great blessings that we have in this country is we have never been ashamed to show our faith. I'm standing in front of the east side of the Supreme Court building, where at the peak of the pediment, you've got Moses holding two tablets representing the Ten Commandments, which is the basis of our faith, which is the basis of the laws in our country. As a nation, we've never been ashamed to proclaim our Judeo-Christian heritage. I think the three scariest words in the English language are, we the people. We're the ones that are responsible for our representatives, for the character of our Congress, and it's up to us as good people to make sure we're monitoring what they're doing. It's up to us to pay attention. I think the Bible talks about watching and praying and making sure that our elected officials are accountable to us. The best way to do that is to stay in touch with them when they're back in the district. Make sure that you stop in and see them. If you have a weekly prayer sheet and you pray for our elected officials, put their names on the weekly prayer sheet and then send it off to their office to let them know that you're praying for them. We have a great responsibility. One of the institutions that was created is after the institution of marriage, then you have the institution of government, and then in the book of Acts you have the institution of the church. It's our responsibility to be involved in both our church, our family, and in politics. It's a responsibility that we do not take lightly. Every time I come to Washington, D.C., every time that I go to Lansing, I feel the weight of the Michigan Association of Christian Schools. I feel the weight of the churches that we work with to be a good representative for them and to make sure that we are carrying the message of religious freedom and having our elected officials know that we pray for them and we're watching and monitoring what they're doing. I think the point that we need to make is the fact that many of our schools, churches, religious organizations forego federal financial assistance because they don't want to be tied down with the burdensome regulations and mandatory reporting that goes with it. For a government to consider any charitable giving to be federal financial aid is not only confusing, but they're also changing the rules in the middle of the game. For years, charitable giving has been tax-exempt, has been left alone by the government, and now the government is trying to tell us that your charitable giving should be considered federal financial assistance. And by that, what they want to do is to make you, the taxpayer, responsible for reporting, for compliance with government regulations. And at this point, we would say that's burdensome regulation. That's not anything that we would be interested in participating in. And so the purpose of us trying to get more sponsors for the Charitable Giving Act is to let our government know that good people, no matter what district, no matter what political party affiliation they belong to, really do appreciate the ability to give charitable giving and to not have it considered federal financial assistance.